Well, hello, kindred spirits. I thought today I would show you how I use a caulking gun. I'm going to be doing some more DIY projects in home decor, which brings me to a little bit of an announcement. I'm going to be taking, I can't say a lot of time off, but I have so many projects going on in the home right now. I really need to get them done. So I'm going to be videotaping as I work around the home, but I don't know if I'm going to have time to do as much posting as I have in the past because I really need to get some of these home projects done. But like I said, I'm going to be videotaping them as I go. But my goal is to get back to showing you all the beautiful consignment items that I find for home decor, and also doing a lot more crafting and DIY projects moving into the spring. So as long as I can get all of this nitty-gritty home makeover stuff done, then I can focus on the fun stuff like this, showing you some of the finds when I go out and about, like these crystal goblets. They're 24% lead crystal. They have a little hint of pink to them. I couldn't pass them up. So things like this we're going to be doing a little bit more going into the spring. But right now, like I said, I'm going to show you how I did some caulking and some prepping for the new breakfast room that I'm going to be decorating. Now, I'm still waiting for some wallpaper samples to come in, and I'm looking forward to getting to the fun part of this project. But first, I have to prep the room. Now, we had brand new windows put in when we did the kitchen remodel, but there were a lot of seams and gaps that were left around the edges from when some of the molding was taken off, and also some of the molding got broken. So I'm going to fix a lot of the old paint that was kind of funky from before, from previous homeowners, and I'm going to be fixing some of this wood. Actually, there's breezes coming in. I wish I had done this sooner, because one thing with old homes, you have breezes that come in, and this was my fault. I should have tackled this sooner, but I had some other things I was doing. So I have a few things here on my table for my DIY project in the breakfast room, but I'm going to do a few things today. One thing is I do have the caulking gun. I have the caulking, and you want to make sure it says paintable. There are several types. If it doesn't say paintable, your paint won't adhere. It will pull away from it. And I have some spackling here to fix walls, my sanding blocks to get some areas that are a little bumpy, and also my spatulas here. And then I have the 6-in-1 tool that I absolutely love. It does so many different things. And what I'm going to be using this for today is just to scrape away some loose paint that may have shown up during when the windows were put in. There's drips. These windows are in pretty bad shape. This house had a lot of tenants and a lot of homeowners over the years, and honestly, it just doesn't seem like it was taken care of as well as many of us would. So I'm going to make it look as good as I can with the tools and the skill that I have, knowing that in the future, if we stay here, I will probably just add new molding, or a future homeowner, all they need to do is take off that outside trim and add new molding themselves. So what I'm doing here right now is I'm taking that 6-in-1 tool, and I'm just going to go around where there's any loose paint or anything that I want to make sure is not there when I go in with caulking and when I go with my sanding block. I'm actually having a bit of deja vu while I'm doing this project, since I just did it in the same exact window configuration in Ben's office for one of the previous videos and one of my previous painting projects. At the risk of boring many of you, I just wanted to share how to use a caulking gun and how some of them are different. My particular caulking gun is very simple and basic, but it has one thing that I like. This rod on many of them is also a release trigger to stop the caulking from coming out. You have to turn it one way or another to stop it from coming out after you squeeze the trigger. On mine, I squeeze the trigger, I release the trigger, and the caulking stops, which is fantastic. Now on some, which mine does not have, there is a circle that you can actually put the tip of the caulking tube in there, and it makes a little angle cut or a straight cut for you. This doesn't have it, so I was missing that. This one also does not have what is called a seal puncture tool, so that you can, it's like a nail actually that's on it, so they could just put it inside of the tip there to help any blockage or if it gets a little dry. But I pull back the rod, and all you do is you slip the tube inside, and then you cut the tip. Once again, I have to get some scissors because I don't have that tool. I'm pointing where on some of them, my past ones did have it. So I'm going to go grab a pair of scissors, and all I'm going to do is an angle cut. Some will do a straight cut, some do angle, and if you want a small amount of caulking come in, you would cut further out on the end where it's smaller. If you want a lot and a thicker bead of caulking coming out, you would go further back. Now, of course, I grabbed the dullest scissors that I had in my drawer. I don't know what I was thinking, but it got the job done. So you can see here is I have an angle tip so that I can get into some smaller spaces and to corners. It really works well. You know, contractors, you do you. If you prefer a straight cut, go for it. Speaking of contractors or others that work in their home a lot, this is how I do things, and if you do it differently, that's fine. I just have been doing this for years and it works for me. So what I'm doing here is I have a bead of caulking, and then I just follow with a little bit of water, and it really makes a nice smooth finish. And also when I'm drawing down the caulking with my finger, I'm pressing in hard on the first time because I really want that caulking to get into the gap, because wood expands and contracts, and you want to make sure that when it expands you still have enough caulking in there that it's not completely going to have an opening again. So as you can see here, the paint is pretty rough still. I can go back and do a second amount of caulking once this dries, which I most likely will before I paint, but it really makes a huge difference. One thing I really enjoy about home DIY projects is the time that it allows me to think and just get in a zone and not have to do anything else. It really is a pleasure for me, and I find it very relaxing. It's almost cathartic. Now, I will admit that after I finished all these windows, I was going to then start sanding the walls, but one of my girlfriends called and asked if I'd like to go over for cookies and some tea, and they were healthy cookies. I think she called them Morning Glory cookies. I stopped everything I was doing, took off my apron, and literally got in the car within 5 minutes. That's how I roll. I want to enjoy my life too. So I'm looking forward to getting a lot of these DIY projects done. And that's why I mentioned earlier, I might not be loading videos as often because I do want to get a lot of these major home decor projects done, so that you and I can do a lot more fun things together, like making wreaths and making soaps and all kinds of fun things for around the house and for yourself. Also, I've been busy building an online store. It's a whole different website. I'm going to be releasing it and opening it up to the public maybe the end of April. But it's going to be a mixture of things that I find out and about. It's things that I have in inventory, and it's all going to tell a story about New England. We're going to have a maritime space. We're going to have equestrian. We're going to have country, and then we're going to have the seasons of fall, winter, summer, and spring. So I'm having a lot of fun with that also. You'll also be able to search for things by color. And as I go through the year, I'll be adding more things. When I go consignment shopping, it's going to be specifically for that online store. I'm going to be shipping to areas in the United States, but I'm also going to start looking into international shipping. I know it can be done. I just want to see if it can be done so that everybody's not paying an arm and a leg for shipping. But that's beside the point. I just wanted to share with you some of the things that are going on at New England Fine Living and why I'm going to be probably rushing and pushing through some of these home decor projects. I'm just ready to move on, especially since we've been house hunting. I just want to enjoy the house and get some projects done that I've left undone. And one more side note, I'm really trying to focus in on what day of the week that I post my one video. I'm trying to figure out who's on more and what's the most favorite time. I would love to get your input of when you would like to see a video released, even if it's just once a week. Would you like to see it Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday? I like to have my Mondays to work in the office, so I wouldn't be releasing it on that day. But now I'm going to leave you. I'm going to show you a walk that I took early one morning. Actually, it was the morning before I started my project. And I'd like to welcome you to join me if you'd like to do so. I'm taking a nice walk in nature, early morning. The birds were singing. You can tell spring is on its way.